Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy.
News about comic books, musical instruments, tech reviews, and video games with your host, Captain Frugal.
Welcome back, comic book fans, and welcome back to the channel. Every week, a flood of comics hits the shelves, and it can be tough to decide what to pick up. But don't worry, that's what I'm here for. We're about to dive in to this week's releases to crown one book the comic of the week. Will it be an epic superhero showdown, a mind-bending indie darling, or maybe a hilarious new series that everyone has been talking about? I've read a stack of them, and I've got some strong opinions. So stick around to the very end to see which comic earned the top spot and why you absolutely need to add it to your collection. Feel free to drop your own picks in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're reading. So, let's get into it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more comic book reviews every week. Welcome back to the virtual comic shop where we discuss other people's reviews as well as my own. So first, let's dive right into the Infernal Hulk number 4 with 307 ratings, a 4.1 score on League of Comic Geeks, and I gave it a close score to that with a strong 4. The writer is Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist is Nick Klein, and I'm going to give a nod to the colorist because colorist I think really did a wonderful job on this issue with Matt Wilson. He really did make the Hulkscape really stand out. In this issue, we have more about the Hulkscape. We're diving into the Hulk and separation from Banner, and the Hulk fans, I think, would find this cover to be very interesting. Now, if you're not a Hulk fan, don't know much about Hulk, this cover isn't going to mean anything to you, but this is many versions of the Hulk. Now, there's some open order covers that are okay as well. Anyway, I don't think this cover is going to attract new readers, but for Hulk fans, it's pretty cool. I mean, come on, it's got Mr. Fix-It on there. Also, the interior art is very good. And as I mentioned the colorist before, the Hulkscape in this, the way it's drawn and colored, it really pops. It shows the atmosphere there. And this is an interesting issue with solid story progression as we're dealing with the eldest here and the Hulk's, all these different versions. Can he come back together? Can he come out? Will he stop the eldest? Well, you know what? Let's take a quick look at some other people's opinions on this book. And I'm seeing a bit of a mixed thing. A lot of 4s, and I do see a 2-star. So let's read a little bit of this 2-star. One of the fastest reads I've had in a long time, specifically because there isn't much to read at all. This felt exceptionally lazy and dragged out. Some may use the term filler. I was in and out in about 5 minutes. That's what she said. For those, I said that's what she said there. This person says, for those of us not familiar with the last run, we learned that Hulk is still around, but not actually. Nothing else really comes from this issue. Now, I 100% disagree. We're getting a building for the Hulk to come out and fight the eldest. But let's check out somebody else here with a 4.5-star. I am absolutely in love with Nick Klein's art. Like, the guy has some serious talent for making even the more gruesome imagery look delightful. I cannot agree more. This was really done. The art's superb. This one was all about art. Let's look at another 5-star here. Infernal Hulk 4 opens with more of the eldest destruction before dedicating most of its 32 pages to what Hulk is doing inside the Hulkscape. What can I say? This issue is pure fun from beginning to end. And I agree. If you've been reading this, you understand what's going on here in the build-up. If you haven't been reading Hulk, you might want to, but though it might be not the best time because you're jumping into a pretty convoluted story at this point, you might want to wait for the next story segment and hope it's just as good. Next, let's stick with the Hulk theme. Let's go to Hulk Smash Everything number 3 with 81 ratings, 4.4 score. I didn't give it as high. I gave it a 3.8. This is the Hulk series that you read if you just want dumb fun. This issue, the writer is Ryan North and artist is Vincenzo Carati, which I probably butchered. Anyway, we had the leader messing with Hulk, trying to take the Hulk out, and he puts him into a black hole in the center of the galaxy. Galaxy, can't speak there. And this is an interesting, because this issue gives us more insight into how much damage the Hulk can take and still survive. A lot of people don't realize what the Hulk can really come back from. Now, maybe they're in the, I forgot, Immortal Hulk, they might have figured it out, but even just a traditional Hulk, this issue also shows the reader that the Hulk's strength may be limitless. It really shows that how it continuously grows in strength. It's really overall a silly but fun issue. I mean, come on, we get the Hulk in this issue fighting Galactus. You heard me right. And I'm telling you, he's doing plenty well holding his own. If you want some silly Hulk, something that maybe not as dark and long-winded, this is just for those kind of people, I think. And I think it's doing well. So if you want that traditional fun Hulk, maybe check this series out. We're only 3 issues in. It's not too late. Speaking of things being drawn out, let's talk about the Ultimates number 21 with 596 ratings with a 4.0 score from League of Comic Geeks, and I gave the book a 3.3. Not very high compared to them. I guess all these people liked it more than me. The writer's den's camp artist is Perez. Anyway, we have Luke Cage in the New Avengers. In this one, they're getting a lot of spotlight for the fighting against the Maker's Council. So anyway, you know, recently Iron Lad made this announcement. It's getting everybody together, but the enemy is not done. This issue starts slow. I'm going to admit that. And that's one of the reasons it gave it a lower score. It introduces a new team of defenders, which are enemies. And they spend all this time on this team, which does not last past this issue. So I think that was a misstep. Way too much on something that doesn't stick and doesn't stay. The art's decent. The story pacing, in my opinion, is just too slow. The writer's providing way too much exposition here to keep it interesting. But let's check out some other people's views. We have a 3-star. I waffled on stars, and I'm landing at 3. The issue just has far too much that it's trying to be. We know from the Luke Cage issue that it's about restoring power to the masses, and here we see that in a rather preachy and communist manifesto tone. I agree 100% with that. None of which this bothers me, though. It's just a lot. Oh, and I know this book has been preachy. Yes, it has. This book has become very, very preachy. Actually, it was preachy from the start. I enjoyed most of it. Okay, so see, there we go. This is one of the faults I find with this series, too. Let's look at another one, though, because this is a different view on that, with 5 stars. The conclusion to my camp double bill read was one of freedom and one of the most anti-fascist stories I've read in a Marvel comic. Camp was going crazy with the political beliefs and didn't hold back. Some might say it's preachy, and it kind of is in a way, but given the current times we live in, it's what's needed. Really? It's what's needed? To all these people there, I don't like to get in politics too much, but all these people love to use the word fascist, but they don't really know what it means. What has been done that was actually fascist here? Anything that was done that wasn't agreed to, the Supreme Court knocks down, which is the way our system's supposed to be. We have checks and balances of power. We've seen that before. I didn't see these same people complaining and whining when Biden did it with student loans. So either you're hypocrites or you don't know what you're talking about here. I understand Marvel likes to shoehorn things in, but sometimes they do it too much, and I think that's to its detriment. It pushes people away from the book. Let's look at here a 0-star review. Our heroes will be completely apolitical, for wildest possible appeal across all demographic groups. They will fight for truth and justice. Concepts so vague and changeable as to be meaningless. They will stand for nothing and everything. That was about the Defenders team. This is once again the writer going above and beyond to be political. Heroes represent the values of their time. Like it or not, Camp is introducing the new concept of the contemporary superhero story. As I said, too much. People want, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here. This was comic shop talk, so bear with me here. Do you want comics as an escape from reality? Or do you want it to be resembling the time and thrown back in it? And that's where I have an issue here. I have an issue, pun intended, right? It's just too much politics in this series. Here's another one. Avengers vs. Defenders. Ultimates 21 delivers the apolitical, and that's in quotes, clash between the Avengers and Defenders as DaCosta makes his move against Luke Cage's growing movement. It was great to finally check in with Luke Cage and see how much this movement has grown. We also get a glimpse of the Ultimate Ghost Rider and Deadpool, which was somewhat interesting. Yeah. And so they mentioned some good things here. But here we go. Dense Camp lets go of any kind of subtle to deliver an unabashed, politically charged superhero battle. I understand this whole story is written, it has to be political. So I'm not an idiot there. Maybe idiot in other ways, right? But once again, this is Marvel writers thinking that they know so much about politics and humanity and all this, when most of them can't maintain a relationship. And if you quizzed them on politics, they wouldn't have a clue what they're talking about. As I said, like with the fascist statement, it's a fascism. We keep hearing that, Nazi this. They've spouted it so much because they don't really know what it means. I challenge you, next time you see somebody saying somebody's fascist, ask them, what's a fascist? And what has the current president or the past president done that was fascist? And I'd like to see that conversation grow. I'm not trying to get fights. I'm trying to make conversation. Let's dive into something more fun and get away from that other stuff, shall we? And that's Iron Man #2. Has 515 ratings with a 3.9 score on League of Comic Geeks. You know what? I gave it almost as high, a 3.6. Yeah. The writers Joshua Williamson, artist Carmen Carnero. And first of all, the cover is, it's okay. But there is some much better open order covers. They just do a better job of looking interesting to pull you in. Now, that said, I'm not trying to be negative here, because we have AIM here. They're trying to get their own Tony Stark. They're taking and abducting very astute, smart people in different fields and putting them through scenarios similar to what Tony Stark went through when he first created the Iron Man armor, to see what these people can do under pressure and certain circumstances to build their own Tony Stark Iron Man genius, if you will, to work for them. And this issue has good art, good story pacing, and good characterization with Captain America and Iron Man in the discussions, and showing the playboy way that Tony is in his particular views. Hopefully this series will continue to make up for the years we've had of absolutely disgusting Iron Man. I mean, come on, Iron Man Tony has had some really bad runs, like stupid Slott doing he's an adopted. That was stupid. So many things, because they feel they got to change the character to make their own agendas. But as I said, this has been good. I'm really liking it. If you're an Iron Man fan, I think this is for you. But hey, wait a minute. Let's check out another couple people's views on League of Comics Geeks. Here's a 4-star. Tony, you idiot. I'm starting to see Williamson's vision, and I'm glad it isn't just making this an MCU synergy run. It's celebrating all aspects of Iron that include the MCU. It's not the greatest thing ever or anything, and so far I've read. Okay, that's the way they wrote it. I don't understand that from Williamson. But it's a good, fun start. Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. All right, let's go to another one here. Let's see. Let's go to this. The Good. 4-star. Tony characterization feels less MCU than the last issue. Madame Mask has returned to her rightful home. Yep, I think she's really being well used so far. I love that adding a new villain, hopefully more down the line, to Iron Man. It's incredible rogues gallery. Yeah, good point. And the character designs and art in general are great. All right, so see seeing Iron Man here and Cap, I think was a great thing, having them together and talking. Ultimately, people are giving this one some pretty good looks. If you're an Iron Man fan and been waiting to get some good Iron Man because you've been sick of the years of garbage to mediocre that we've had, and some just deserves to smack the writer, this might be for you. Now let's shift gears to Superman #35. 580 ratings, 4.0, very positive score on League of Comics Geeks. And you know what? I gave it a higher score. I gave it a 4.1. That does not happen often. So anyway, writer Joshua Williamson, bravo to you, man, and penciler Eddie Barrows. There is the standard cover is pretty good. I think it's interesting, draws you in. The balance with the white in the background just really makes the characters pop up about what's going on. There's some other covers available which are pretty darn good too. Anyway, we got this whole thing with the tournament with Knockout, and if you don't know who won the tournament, I don't want to tell you, but things are just twisting and turning here. This, I think, is a perfectly effective cover. The story is really good. The interior art is great. There's a brutal battle in this issue with the Legion, the evil Legion, with Superman Prime, and Lois fighting them. The Time Trapper learns more about his past, which really does a sort of retconning the history of Doomsday here. I'm not a big fan of changing the past. I would like to know your thoughts on how they're changing the past of Doomsday here. Did you like that or not? This overall, I think, is a solid issue. If you are a Superman fan and you haven't been reading Superman, you might want to start. This might not be the best jumping on point at this point because it's pretty in-depth story at this point. But maybe if the team sticks around, you might want to try it out. The next book I want to talk about is Justice League Unlimited number 16 with 424 ratings, 3.5 score on League of Comic Geeks, and I gave it, once again, there's something, I'm crazy, I gave it a 3.7, higher than League of Comic Geeks average here. And that's amazing because the writer is Mark Waid, and I think he's a dick. And the artist is Dan Mora. The cover is okay. There's some alternate covers that are okay. Anyway, we have Mr. Terrific, trapped away in hell, and Earth's massive evacuation continues in order to save millions. And Mr. Terrific is going to try to deal with Neuron. Yeah. So anyway, remember there was if you weren't familiar and didn't read last issue, there was a traitor amongst them. Can Mr. Terrific in this issue outwit Neuron? Well, we'll see. I will tell you during this issue, Mr. Terrific has harsh words for Alwyn, which was the traitor. As the story does explain why she did that, still wasn't the right thing, and he lets her have it. But during this issue, the Owl Woman is watching the rest of the Justice League and what they're doing, and it changes her heart, if you will, her views on things, which I will say is incredibly predictable, but it was still interesting. So anyway, let's look at somebody else's view here. We have a 2.5 star. This issue is not all that vital to the overall story of Knockout. Therefore, I think it's okay to skip this issue if you're only considering the cause of Knockout. And that's true. This is sort of a side story of Knockout. You don't have to get it, but if you are enjoying all these stories, why not? And if you've been reading Justice League Unlimited, you probably should continue. Another one is a 3.5 star. I don't know that it literally elevates the arc, but at least brings it to a fitting conclusion. Okay, that's a pretty good point. Let's look at another one. Dude, it's so clear that Mora is wanting to draw a horror comic of some sort. Pretty solid ending to this arc. All the plots connected together here, which is nice. The arc felt pretty bloated and disconnected, with nothing really happening on top. So as you see here, even the ones that are a little bit negative say overall it's not bad. It's just maybe not the greatest. If you read this, I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know if you can. So hang on with me here, people. We're almost to my number 1. We're getting close. But this isn't it. This is Green Lantern number 32 with 202 ratings, 3.8 score, mostly positive, and I gave it higher. Man, there's something in the water. I gave it a 4. First of all, the writer is Jeremy Adams, artist is Osvaldo Pestana Montpeller, sorry, butchered, did my best. I'm going to say the cover art on this is pretty good. I like it. We got Green Lantern holding an engagement ring. Yeah, I think that's a nice touch there because it looks like he's going to be proposing to his long love. And this is a relationship that's been a long time on again and off again in the DCU. A great relationship. Speaking of great relationships, DC, step it up. Bring back Robin and Stephanie. Get rid of this Bernard bull crap. Okay, we want that good relationship. There's some other covers that are pretty good as well. In this issue, the visions that Hal Jordan receives from the Book of Og have grown stronger, leading Green Lantern to make a decision that will change the fate of the Corps. Yep, you get a lot of heart in this issue. Yep, so anyway, interesting cover. I like it. Hal gets a 24-hour period off to get a date with Carol because he plans on proposing, as you can see on the cover of the issue. But of course, in comic book style, it doesn't go as planned and it gets interrupted. Decent art in this issue, decent pacing, and there is a surprise on the last page. By the way, also you get a little Kyle Reiner in here. So if you like Kyle, you might want to check that out too. Looking at the reviews, most of them are pretty positive in the 4-star area, but I did find a 2-star review. So let's look at a little bit about that. Nothing could mess that up. Nothing. Color me flattered because no Hal Carol version has come close to being this ridiculous. I had a good laugh, thank you, Adams. Where are Hal and Carol? Are they in the room with us? On the plus side, Adams didn't get to write them getting married. Okay, I don't understand that person at all. I'm sorry, I like the relationship. In general, I'm looking at a lot of people are really enjoying this. Many 4 stars. Like, I can't believe I fell for the bait again. So some people are feeling like it didn't happened. Well, here's the thing. At the end, she finds out. She knows, but they both have to go off and do something. So they're not really able to act on it. The question is, will they be able to stick together when they both come back? I think we need more couples staying together and getting married. That's the problem, though, I think, with a lot of writers, is they have never had that kind of relationship, so they don't know how to handle it. I see it all the time with writers in the past, like Dan Slott, which clearly had very little relationship knowledge and things like that. Not trying to be mean, it's just they don't know how to write a married couple. All right, let's shift into my number 1 pick of the week. The Punisher, number 1. How fitting. 1 and 1. Has 453 ratings with a 4.1 score on League of Comic Geeks, and I gave it a higher score yet. I gave it a 4.3. The writer's Benjamin Percy, penciler is Jose Luis Suarez Pinto. And first of all, the cover is great. You got Punisher with the big Punisher skull on his shirt, the trench coat, firing 2 guns. Awesome. There is some also amazing open order covers as well. This, I think, is off to a great start. This is picking up after last series where Frank gets the mind control pulled out of his head. He has it surgically removed. And so this is a direct continuation of this because that's part of the problem. Now, Frank is dealing in this with the after effects of that, and it's causing him pain and it's dropping him. I think he's becoming unconscious for a short period of time here from removing that control device. If you didn't know about that, what happened is it was put in by the Kingpin. We don't understand how Frank came back, but Kingpin got him, put a control device in his head. And so Frank pretty much had some paramedics pull over and said, hey, I got bombs on here. You're either pulling this out of my head or I'm going to blow this thing up, and had that thing removed. So interesting stuff. So that's going to give us these side effects or could pop up at any time. But here's where it also gets more interesting too. Jigsaw survived and Jigsaw is back. But it's not all. Jigsaw realizes that he's never lived up to his potential. And so now he wants to be the number 1 player. So he goes to Tombstone and is taken over with Tombstone. He wants to be the top dog. And of course that means Punisher is going to have to take him down. This is Legacy issue 280, people. Punisher's got a lot of history in him. And this is one of his greatest enemies. A fantastic issue, solid art, and good story. Looking over the League of Comic Geeks reviews, people are digging it. I see really mostly all 4s. I did find a 1 star. So let's check out that alternate view. Okay, so we put out a solid yet super hype mini to lead up to the ongoing return of the character many people are looking forward to. And when issue number 1 comes around, let's just make it ugly and stiff with the punch of a 0.05. What? Don't even joke, lad. It keeps this up like this. I do hope that the big CB in the sky strikes it down before issue 10. I don't see that at all. But let's check out somebody else with a conflicting review. It's nice when a comic behaves like a comic book. Bravo, I agree. No sitting around at tables and just talking. This comic already feels like more guts than most Marvel comics have been released in the last 2 years. I'm here for the grit and the blood, and Frank Castle out for revenge. Hopefully this is a banger I want it to be. I agree. I don't understand how that one person got a 1 star. Just crazy to me. Here's another one. Percy might potentially be the best modern Punisher writer. I think he gets it so far. He's showing it, very, very tough. Now I found a 0 star. I'm really not a fan of Percy. If he ignores everything about Aaron's last run and keeps Frank's wife in the ground where she belongs, that'll be enough for me now. Okay. It says, I'm really not a fan of Percy. If it ignores everything about Aaron's last run and keeps Frank's wife in the ground where she belongs, that'll be enough for me for now. Why'd you give it a 0 then? This is completely ignoring any of that so far. Hasn't brought up any of that. So I think maybe they just forgot to put the stars in. I don't know. But this is a great take on Punisher so far. And I think, if anything, they need to retcon that whole stupid thing with his wife and kid that was done and changing him out of existence. But that's my thoughts, not yours. Please share yours in the chat if you don't mind. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these. Remember, this is us in a comic shop, just having conversation. So if it does get political, try to keep it out of the focus of the comic books and not with name calling. If you just come in swinging with names and not entering anything valuable, I'm just going to block you. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just, I'm trying to keep this as we can have those conversations, but it's just you come in saying, hey, you're an a-hole idiot, and you have no substance to add. What's the point of having you here? Right? So I'll spotlight you for being an idiot and then say goodbye. I've had to do that before with people. Now, if you have a disagreement because of a concept or things, by all means, we can have that disagreement. I'm not going to call you names. You're not going to call me names, or anybody here. As a matter of fact, I don't want anybody getting called names in my comment section. Treat them with kindness, because let's be honest, chances are you would not have the balls to say that to their face. And if you walked up into somebody there, you're going to talk to them differently. Let's show each other some respect like that. And I thank these people here for this, because without them supporting this channel consistently, this would not be here. So thank you everybody for your time. Until next time, keep it frugal.